So, welcome to
Okay.
our free webinar with Mr. Hari Prasad Renganathan in collaboration with PACT. Today, we have gathered over here for a free webinar focused on top 10 topics every developer and AI engineer should focus and master in the age of AI in 2026. Hari has an excellent experience when it comes to working on products. He's a founder at Flax. He's also a founder at My Real Product. He also holds a Master of Science degree in data science from Columbia University. And it's a pleasure to have you, Hari, with all of us. Over to you. Thank you so much for your time, Hari.
No, my pleasure to be here and thanks for the invite, Abhishek. So I'll share my screen. Hope you can see my screen. So today we're gonna cover like the top 10 topics every developer or AI engineer should master in today's era. So this one is again partnering with Pact. And thanks for the invite, Abhishek and Pact. So before getting into the 10 topics, so a quick introduction about me. You might be wondering, hey, who is this guy to speak about AI, the top 10 AI topics and stuff? Let's just say that I spent unhealthy amount of time learning, teaching, and building AI. So I'm from a non-technical background. I'm from India. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, nothing to do with computer science. But then I got interest. I wanna do something, get into the tech. So I went to Columbia. I did my master's in data science from Columbia. Then I worked in New York for 3-4 years as a data scientist in a top gaming company. And then I moved to London. I was working as a senior AI engineer. I was leading the AI team. It's a YC backed startup. Then a month back, I quit my job and I'm currently part of Antler and I'm building Flax with a part of Antler. And for the past 2 years, I've been teaching AI and I helped 900 plus people to break into AI. So this is something that I like to do. So glad to do this with Pact. So the goal of today's session is, so we're gonna cover top 10 topics. I'm not gonna get in depth into all 10 topics because each topic might take an hour or even more than that. But what I believe in AI era is you just have to know what to learn because how to learn became so easy. Like if you go to ChatGPT, if you put the topic, it's going to teach you everything, but you should know what to learn. So I'm going to help you what to learn that these 10 topics, I think Abhishek mentioned is recorded. So you might get the recording. So you don't have to take notes, but feel free to take screenshot or something if you need. So let's go over one by one. There is no particular order, but it's kind of like it's a sequential order that you can focus on. So you can start from one and I can build all the topics on after that in a hierarchical way. So let's go with the number one that you have to know if you want to get into AI. We all know prompt engineering. We all might have heard about uh, basic role-based prompting, saying that you are a senior designer, design this website and all these things. Advanced prompt engineering might involve something called one-shot prompting, few-shot prompting, which means like you give examples, uh, what is the correct and what is the wrong answer, and then ask a question. Now AI can refer to the correct and wrong answer and give an answer that you are expecting, or you give it a chain of thought prompting. That way, um, in the prompt, you tell that, hey, I'm gonna give you a task, chunk it into multiple tasks and do it one by one and give it a thought in every task and finally aggregate everything together, sort of. So this way, if you start prompting in a way, so I think people ask me something like people online, they pretend as if prompt engineering will solve all the problems, which is not. That's why it's in the number one. There are 9 more things that you can do after this. But prompt engineering is something you can think of it this way. So you are asking AI to do something, which means uh, if you ask AI to figure out everything, it is going to give a really good output. But the problem is you might not like the output. It's not biased, and that's a problem. if you want an output, you want the answer to be biased in your situation or for your use case. So the more context you give in the prompt, the better the output is going to be. Simple as that. The context doesn't have to be structured. You just like dump context, it's going to figure out and it's going to give a better answer. The best prompt you can give is a better context. Simple as that. And other things that you can remember is when you're doing this, I also like try to learn what is prompt caching. A prompt caching is like instead of giving the same prompt again and again when you're building a system, you just cache the prompt so that you don't have to spend extra money on tokens, input tokens while doing that. And also focus on structured outputs. So that way, so instead of just getting a text output, if you start asking for a structured output like JSON output, XML output, or whatever the output format, CSV output, or whatever the format that you want, it'll be easy for you to extract it out and you can display it in a better way. So start asking for a structured output when you're giving the input as well. So these are some advanced prompt engineering techniques that you can use to take it to one step further. That is technically the zeroth step or zeroth topic, which we are already using it, use AI. People say that um, people who use AI replace people who don't use AI. I don't believe that anymore because like everyone uses AI today. So I would see that in a new way. So we are in level one. So as you move up the level, which we are gonna do, the further the level you are, you're going to replace someone who's in the beginning of this level. So if you're in level one, now try to get to level two, then get to level three, level four, and we are going to cover like 10 levels in this uh, webinar. So I hope you have a clarity on what is level one, what are the stuff that you can to do to be in level one. And now going to level two, when you're building using AI, I said context. Context is very important. Instead of just giving a random context in the prompt, what if you can connect it to your entire database? Like it can be your Google Drive, it can be your chat history, it can be if it's personal, but if it's like enterprise level, you can connect it to your database, you can connect it to all the other tools that you use, or you can connect it to web. And what if you ask the AI to go through all the documents and all the extra information that you gave before giving an answer for what you're trying to ask? Obviously, the answer is going to be better. So here, the better is always subjective, right? So when I say better over here, it's going to be better to your liking. So it'll be better because it knows what you do, what you have done. So it's going to be personalized output and you feel it might be better because it has gone through all the data before giving an answer. And there are a lot of chunking strategies. So what is RAG? RAG is retrieval augmented generation. In simple words, you just convert a raw text format into vectors and store it somewhere, or you convert the text and just organize them in a really good way, index them and store it somewhere. So AI can go and retrieve this information and use that information before giving you an answer. So which means you can't feed the entire database into AI and ask AI to figure it out because there is a context limit. So instead of that, what you can do is you can chunk the relevant information and just give the relevant information to AI before getting an answer. So there are many strategies to do this, and you can use how to convert this word or text space into a vector or numerical format. You use something called embedding models when you do this. Again, like I'm just like touching up the surface on each topic. RAG by itself will take 1 hour for me to explain, but I'm just giving you what are the possibilities. You take a screenshot, put it in ChatGPT and ask in depth how we can do this, or we can do more such webinars for you to understand each topic. But let me give you end to end of what actually is required for you to learn AI and get into the most advanced level possible. If you just learn all these 10 topics, I'm pretty sure you know all the advanced stuff that are in AI today. And then now comes the most hot topic, agentic AI, the third level. So the third level, like now you know how to write a basic prompt and then you wrote an advanced prompt, then you gave an external database to connect to before giving an answer. But still there is a problem with all these things. And AI, till now, we are just treating AI as a chatbot. You ask a question, it gives an answer. It's good enough. It gives a really good answer, but you wouldn't call a person smart if they keep answering questions for whatever keep answering the questions that you're asking, right? You'll only call a person smart if the person can do some things for you. Right now, AI until level two, it can only do answer questions for you. But what if it can do stuff for you? So that's where AI agents come into play. So instead of just asking questions, what if you can ask AI let's consider the LLM as the brain, and what if we can give hands and legs to that AI? That's what is AI agents. So when I say hands and legs, it's kind of like you give tools to AI. So instead of asking, hey, write an email, you give the email tool to AI and you tell, hey, if you think you want to write an email, you write an email. But if you think for this step you don't want an email, don't write an email. You write an email, write a draft and send it, right? Like all these, if you give all these functionalities to AI and let AI decide what should happen next, that's what is agentic system. So there are many things that you can do. One is like a single agent system, or you can have multiple agents working together in a system, and you can have memory. So instead of just running it once, what if the agent can remember what it ran the previous time so that the next time you ask, it's going to do it in a better way. You can use frameworks like LangGraph, Autogen, Crew AI, and many other um, agentic frameworks out there. But I prefer using LangGraph. So if you want to get into agentic AI, basically you should know Python and you should know LangGraph, and that's good enough. You can build any agentic system that you want. I use LangGraph all the time. AI agents is a hot topic, and I said the level is gonna keep going up, or like more stuff gonna come up as we go from level 3 to level 4. But there are 7 more levels to go. You might wonder what next. So the next one is understanding what a fine tuning is. So 3 years back when ChatGPT was launched, 3 years back when open source models were coming out, open source LLM models were coming out, people were speaking about fine tuning a lot, but right today, 99% of the use cases that you have could be solved using the first 3 steps. You don't have to fine tune a model. You can write a better prompt. You can build a RAG based application. You can build an agentic system to solve most of your problems. But very rarely, if you have a really edge case where you want a LLM to perform exactly the way that you want, you can fine tune it. What is fine tuning? Fine tuning is like let's say you have additional data available. You take that additional data that you have and you take an existing model and you uh, reconfigure the model weights by giving this additional data. So now you basically tweak the model in a way. You took an open source model, you tweak the model in a way to perform for your use case. That's what is fine tuning. Now you might understand why I said that's not necessary, because first thing, it's going to be expensive. And second thing, it's going to take a lot of time. Like fine tuning takes a lot of time, depends on the model you choose and depends on how big your data set is. And you have to host it. It's not like one time fine tuning and you forget about it. You have to host the model somewhere and only then it'll be online all the time. So right now, if you want to use any other model, you just pay for the API cost. But this way, you don't have to pay for the API cost, but you still have to host it somewhere. You have to keep it running all the time. You have to take care of the scaling up, scaling down, everything, which is super expensive. So very rarely companies do fine tuning, but I just want you to know fine tuning is an option that is available in case you want to increase the uh, increase the personalization and customization of the app. And you might have heard about this community called Hugging Face. If not, you should. It's kind of like a Kaggle for AI developers. So if you fine tune a model or if you want to download any open source model, you go there. It's like an AI community where people have hosted a lot of models. You can go check it out and you can fine tune a model and upload it and help back the community if you want. So that's level 4. And the next topic that we're going to see is LLM ops and AI in production, because we kind of covered everything in AI, but whatever we did till now, if it only works on your laptop, what's the use of it? It has to work everywhere. So that's where operations and production, AI and production come into play. So instead of just running it on your machine, now you have to learn how to deploy this in cloud. You have to understand what is prompt caching, prompt versioning, A/B testing of prompts, how a non-technical person can go and update a prompt, right? You are a developer, you might have wrote the prompt inside your code base, but what if a non-technical person wants to update the prompt? What if the marketing guy or the sales guy wants to update the prompt? So such things has to be taken care when you're deploying the app. And also you have to take care of the performance and efficiency, because it might work really well on your machine, on your laptop, but when you're trying to move it to production, there is a chance that 10,000 users might be using it at the same time. What happens? What happens to the cost? What happens to the limit? You have to figure out all these things. And the most important thing is observability. Uh, because the problem with AI workflows or AI systems is, in a traditional software engineering process or traditional system, if you tested it once, a single input will always have the same output. Even if for you to change the output, you should change the input. That's how a traditional software engineering workflow looks like. But an AI workflow doesn't look like that. That it doesn't work like that, because you can give the same prompt. You go to ChatGPT, give the same prompt. Today it might give an answer, but tomorrow it might give a different answer. It might be true mostly, like 99% of the time it will be true, but that will be little bit of a variation in answer. It's not going to be exactly same. So which means you have to monitor every output that's going to come out, and you can use tools like Langsmith, Langfuse, or anything equivalent to monitor and debug what's happening. So you have to set up all these things after building your actual AI workflow, so that you can know you're good to go and put your AI system in production. So number six is eval. So now you're monitoring everything, and eval is like you're evaluating or you're ranking the output of the model. So how do you know an output of something is good? You can't say, hey, this is accurate, this is 95% accurate. How do you know all these things? There are various methods that you can use. The most famous one is LLM as a judge. Basically, like, you give an input, you get an output, and you have some database of known outputs, and use LLM as a judge. In other words, like, you have another LLM as to judge the first LLM. Let's say the first LLM is your actual workflow. You use another LLM to actually take a look at the output and rank or rate it. So that way you're rating the output of the LLM. Let's say if the rating goes down, you can manually trigger a alarm or something, so that an engineer can come and go and take a look at what's going wrong. So again, I use Langfuse, which is like an observability tool and also an eval tool, to actually go and like rate the outputs or rank the outputs or understand what the outputs are. This is the biggest gap today in AI engineering, because, like, even though there are tools, these tools are not customized for every application that you're building. So there are, like, you can build any application that you want, but you can't just follow a single framework for that. So these tools are trying to build that framework, but I see there is still a gap where you still have two people are trying to push and see how we can improve the evals. So if you want to become an AI engineer or AI developer, I think you might have to focus more on evals. So when I was working as a AI engineer in the previous company, I spent 60-70% of the time doing this, building an AI eval frameworks for the application that we were building. So you're almost here. Like, if you do all these things, you are already a senior AI engineer, you know all the advanced stuff in AI. But there are some edge other AI tools right now. Till now, we just talked about LLMs, large language models, which means just the text-based models. But generative AI is not just text-based, right? There are image, there are like documents, there are videos, etc. So maybe you can understand, or at least, like, there are many models today. You don't have to learn this separately. There are many models which can do this by default. You don't have to specify what you're providing in. It can handle images, it can handle videos, it can handle like documents, everything. So this is another field which doesn't have a lot of use cases, because primarily most of the AI apps that you use today come under the text based, but this is something that you can still learn and understand. And after this, I see voice AI and conversational AI getting the spotlight. I'm intentionally going a little fast so that we can get into the Q&A section and spend more time on the Q&A. And again, I'm not going to go in depth in every topic, just going to trying to give an overview of what exists so that you can go and understand in depth in any topic that you want. Again, coming back, so voice AI and conversational interfaces are getting the spotlight because like how can you make an AI sound human? Uh, Humans don't just text or speak in text, right? They talk to each other. So a lot of applications are trying to incorporate voice AI, even though they don't have to. Like I don't know whether you heard about this company called Jack and Jill. It's like a hiring platform where you can like go and talk to an AI, and the AI will extract all the information about you, and it will keep sending you any job opportunities that you have. So they made this onboarding or like the initial interaction with the tool fully voice AI. So I don't have to fill a form, I don't have to type anything. An AI screen will pop up. All I have to do is just talk to it. And I think a lot of people in the industry were speaking about it because they just changed the UI UX using voice, and it made uh, the onboarding process easier. It made just like giving information or giving inputs much easier. So this is something that a lot of products, AI products, are using to enhance the UI UX for the users. The best tool, I think you might have heard about this, the best tool out there for this is 11 Labs. Uh, if you go, there are thousands of voices that you can use in 11 Labs, and a lot of those AI voices sounds like a human. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to tell the difference between an AI voice and a real like real human voice. And you can also select an accent. Let's say you're an Indian, you can select an Indian accent. Let's say you're an Australian, you can select an Australian accent, and you can pick a voice AI for that. And coming to ninth and 10th, so especially ninth, this is kind of like an underrated stuff, but this is very important. The AI safety, ethics, and responsible AI. This feels like, okay, this is something that legal team would take care of. It feels like, okay, maybe the company PR team would take care of this, but it's not true because like it depends on the field that you're working in. So the previous company that I worked for, it's a financial services company, and I'm in UK. So in Europe, UK, like the laws are pretty strict over there here. So I have to make sure the answers that are coming out is doesn't have any hallucinated answers, or the outputs that the AI is producing is like has a ground reality. So we always check it with something called FCA. So for financial advisors, there's something called FCA guidelines. So I make sure that the AI gives an output in a way that is strict with the guidelines. And we also write a lot of AI guardrails so that it doesn't spit any nonsense. So we make sure that the AI is not, because it is like a non-technical person like PR team or legal team can't do this. As an AI engineer, you should have the responsibility to build an AI which can be safe and ethically correct when it's providing the answer, and also making sure that it is compliant. And also when you're building the process, you have to make sure that all the data governance and AI governance is in place. Especially if you are in Europe, this is even more strict, right? And finally, the best way to learn AI is building something. So if you are trying to learn, so we covered all these 9 topics, and if you keep trying to watch more videos, it's not going to help, because AI is something that it feels super easy when you're just watching a video, but when you implement it, it's easy. But the thing is, it's all about problem solving, right? You pick a problem and you try to solve a problem. What if you introduce AI, AI is cool, it spits out cool answer, but cool answer is not going to solve a problem. A cool output is not going to solve a problem. Problem solving has nothing to do with AI. It has everything to do with whether the user likes the output or not, right? So the best way to understand that is actually building something end to end, an end to end AI product. So you have to bring that MVP thinking in mind, like build a very basic prototype, make sure it works. It doesn't have to be cool enough. It doesn't have to have all the features, but build something so that you can test it out with a real user. So you can, if you know Python, there's something called Streamlit. You can build a very basic application. You don't have to know front end to do something like this. And today, if you use Cloud Code or anything equivalent, building became so easy. You should definitely build something end to end, because like most probably you're gonna wipe code and build something. So you don't have to worry about do I have this? Is there a knowledge gap? Is there a skill gap for me to build something end to end? You definitely do have the knowledge to build it. All you have to do is pick a problem and whatever you learned in AI, try to implement it by building an end to end product. That's it. That would be it. That's not a topic, but if I have to learn something, I will always keep the 10th point in mind before doing this. And I mean, that's pretty much it. And a little bit of a plugin. So as I mentioned, I do teach AI through this workshop called My Real Product. So if you want to do this faster, if you want to learn all these 10 things that I mentioned in just 4 weeks, it's just a 4 week cohort. So if you want to build an actual end-to-end AI product while learning all these things that I mentioned, you can scan the QR code or go to myrealproduct.com, and I'll help you do this together as a team. It's a hands-on AI workshop for you to do this. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And let's have a lot of questions. So if you don't understand anything, or if you have any questions in whatever I mentioned, happy to answer them. Or is it too much to digest? Or if you want me to dive deeper into any of the topics that I mentioned, I'm happy to do that.
Uh, I think it's time for our Q&A. If anyone from our audience wants to have any such questions, please feel free to ask. We have some time, 5 to 10 minutes, so please feel free to ask whatever you may have to. I don't. Okay, so we have someone. Yeah,
Okay,
please,
so
Libby, please.
I just want to know more about agentic AI and what's importance in current scenarios. Could you please explain a little bit more about that?
Yep, sure. I mean, there is something I would say, to be honest, agentic AI is overrated, because like everyone started talking about it,
Yeah.
and the industry is still trying to find a lot of use cases for it. Like the technology is advanced, but commercially, people are still using basic prompt engineering, a little bit of RAG application, and they're making a lot of money doing that. And there are very few, don't get me wrong, like there are very few tools which is fully agentic, like Cloud Code. That's the famous developer tool today, right? To build agentic systems. But most of the tools today are not agentic. They
Mhm.
pretend like they're agentic because maybe that's how you get VC funding and stuff. But
Mhm.
it is still kind of in the future. But people are still trying to build agentic stuff, which is like, if you want, I can. So when you say you want to know more, exactly what, like I can dive deeper on in that aspect.
So I just want to know because, as you said, now everyone is speaking about agentic AI, right? So I just want to know the complexity or what's the real
Mhm.
drawback or the problems if we want to implement something in agentic AI, some applications in agentic AI. What will be the
Yep,
limitations?
sure. I think this is another misconception is like people think building agentic AI is difficult, but in fact, it's the opposite. Building agentic AI is easier because
Mhm.
the definition of agentic AI is, as a developer, you are not going to define a developer workflow. Instead, you let AI define what the workflow is going to look like. So all
Mhm.
you have to do is define a main LLM to be the center of that brain, and you just connect multiple tools to that system, and you just tell that, hey, this is the work, these are the tools that are available, and you give a system prompt as usual, and the brain will decide what should happen next. You can still control the agentic system. So that's where the complexity will come in. But generally, the building the basic agentic system is way easier than you think.
Okay, thank you. I got some ideas. Thank you.
Uh, Thanks for the
So
question.
I just want to ask you one question, right? So like
Hmm.
the answer to the question is like somebody who did computer science like us versus someone who did mechanical engineering. So like they also can use AI tools. So like like anybody can build using AI tools. What you're saying, or is it like no because someone who did computer science has a better foundation compared to a guy who did civil, mechanical, or finance? Is it true? Do you agree with that statement?
Yes and no, I would say.
Okay.
Commercially, they have an upper hand because they know the business, they know the use case for it. But
Yeah.
technically, they might not unless they push themselves to learn that. So if they, because like today learning became easier, but getting commercial side is difficult. Let's say I want to understand what's happening in like aeronautical space, right? It takes a lot of years for me to go and learn. But it's
Yep.
easy for an aeronautical engineer to come and learn AI fast and apply it in his use case.
Okay.
So it depends on if the person is ready to learn AI and then apply it in their existing use case. That's it.
Understood. I get the point. I get the point. Now I want to ask you like so like how can we differentiate between somebody who's a mechanic who wants to come and learn AI versus somebody like us, who did computer science and to make sure that our degree is valuable, like yeah. So anybody can learn AI. How can we differentiate between somebody who learns AI later, Yeah.
The question is, do you have to differentiate? That's the question. Because
Yes, we
like,
need to
so
because we did computer science. What's the point of studying CS then? All these 4 or 5 years, you put in the effort and then you right now AI has come.
great. Great question. I spent $88,000 to
Exactly.
get a degree in data science, so I get your point. But I see it this way. Since you come from a computer science background, you know the foundations really well. You know the comparisons. So even though that's not mandatory, that's kind of like we can call it like a system thinking, right? You have the system
Yep.
thinking by nature in your head because you did that for 4 years. So that way, you're definitely going to build a better AI system than a non-technical person. But the question is like, which non-technical person are you competing with is the question. Let's say the non-technical person, if he just tries to learn the surface level AI, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for you to compete because you're already better. But if he spends a lot of time in going and learning AI, he also knows the commercial stuff. Now, if he learns AI, it might get difficult. So a way to compete is for you to go and learn the commercial side of it. Like where are you
Okay.
gonna apply this? What is the use case? Which industry do you wanna pick and everything? That will help you stand out.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, the point. Also, this webinar is being broadcast on YouTube as well. This webinar.
Abhishek, is it? I don't think so. I think it's recorded,
Uh,
but not on YouTube,
it's
I guess.
recorded, so the recordings will be shared to each and every participant in the next 24 hours.
Understood.
Do we have any more questions?
Yep. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Stephen. Hi.
I was wondering how different organizations, such as in banking or energy, might currently be using AI.
They're using the level one and level two, as I mentioned. The agentic is little bit futuristic. Even that, so I used to work for a like fintech company. Even they didn't use like agentic stuff much. They did, but they didn't use it properly. Which means people who are working in energy or any other sectors, they're definitely using number one and number two. Uh, I haven't worked exactly with that use like the industry, so I can't comment on what use cases they have, but most probably it can be used anywhere that a computer is there and a human is using a computer to do something that could definitely be automated today. If you have heard of Cloud Code is like an AI that runs on your terminal. So if an AI can run on your terminal, which means the AI can control your entire computer. So as a human, if you do any work that has computer involved, an AI can do it today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And I think the physical robotic side, that AI is little, uh, uh, they have something to catch up. Like it'll take the next 5 years at least for them to actually have a humanoid robot doing the work that humans can do 100%. It will take time, but I think it's kind of here. If you've heard about Neo robot, right? Like that was kind of like marketed in a more B2C way. it can like clean your dishes, it can do everything, which means it has better functionality in an industry like that. Any more questions?
I don't think we have any more questions from the audience. So as we are wrapping up this session, this brings us towards the end of this session. Thank you so much, Hari, for your valuable time and insights shared. I would like to apprise you all that the recordings will be shared with each and every participant in the next 24 hours. Until then, keep in touch with Hari, keep in touch with me to stay updated for more such free webinars. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Hari, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for making it today. I know it's Monday. Hopefully you got some insights out of this, and thanks for the invite, Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Hari. Have a nice weekend ahead. Have a nice week ahead to you too. Every one of you who have joined us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.